Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Yasodhanandana Jaya विदर्ण हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। We'll do short prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nastapráyeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. So today we are going to see about Bhagavad Gita, third chapter, that is titled as Karma Yoga, text 41. So I will chant, so you can repeat after me. Tasmat tvam indriyanyahu niyamya bharatashabha papmanam prajahya enam jnana vijnana nashanam tasmat tvam indriyanyado niyamya bharatashabha papmanam prajahye enam jnana vijnana nashanam tasmat tvam indriyanyado niyamya bharatashabha papmanam prajahye enam jnana vijnana nashanam. Anyone would like to repeat? Tasmat tvam indriyanyado niyamya bharatashabha papmanam prajahye enam jnana vijnana nashanam. Okay, so we'll go to word meaning. Tasmat, therefore, tvam, you, indriyani, senses, adav, in the beginning, niyamya, by regulating, bharatarshabha, O chief among the descendants of Bharata, papmanam, the great symbol of sin, prajahi, curb, he, certainly, enam, this, jnana, of knowledge, vijnana, and scientific knowledge of the pure soul, nashanam, the destroyer, Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, O Arjuna, best of the Bharatas, in the very beginning, curb this great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses, and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self realization. Purport: the Lord advised Arjuna to regulate the senses from the very beginning so that he could curb the greatest sinful enemy, lust, which destroys the urge for self realization and specific knowledge of the self. Jnana refers to knowledge of the self as distinguished from non self, or in other words, knowledge that the spirit soul is not the body. Vijnana refers to the specific knowledge of the spirit soul's constitutional position and his relationship to the supreme soul. It is explained thus in Srimad Bhagavatam 2:931. Jnanam param guhyam me yad vijnana samanvitam sarahasyam tat anagam cha grihnana gaditam maya. The knowledge of the self and the supreme self is very confidential and mysterious. But such knowledge and specific relation can be understood if explained with their various aspects by the Lord Himself. Bhagavad Gita gives us that great general and specific knowledge of the self. The living entities are part and parcels of the Lord, and therefore they are simply meant to serve the Lord. This consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. So, from the very beginning of life, one has to learn this Krishna consciousness, and thereby one may become fully Krishna conscious and act accordingly. Lust is only the perverted reflection of the love of God, which is natural for every living entity. But if one is educated in Krishna consciousness from the very beginning, that natural love of God cannot deteriorate into lust. When love of God deteriorates into lust, it is very difficult to return to the normal condition. Nonetheless, Krishna consciousness is so powerful that even a later beginner can become a lover of God by following the regulative principles of devotional service. So, from any stage of life or from the time of understanding its urgency, one can begin. Where is this? Begin. Okay, understanding its urgency, one can begin regulating the senses in Krishna consciousness, devotional service of the Lord, and turn the lust into love of Godhead, the highest perfectional stage of human life. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamapyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitanscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishave Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Deve Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गं लङ्घयते गिरिं, यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं, परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरि ओं तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. So, so we are in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is titled as Karma Yoga, and we are in the 41st, 41st sloka, which is almost the end of the chapter. So there are just two more slokas are left for this chapter. So translation it says, therefore Arjuna, best of the Bharatas, in the very beginning curb this great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses, and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So here Arjuna asks one question in the 36th or 38th sloka, where he asks this question that in 36th question he asked, what is one impelled to sinful acts even unwillingly as if engaged by force? So Arjuna was asking this question, like before that they were discussing about Nishkama Karma Yoga, because Arjuna wanted to renounce, and then Krishna encouraged him that renunciation is not a good for him. Then he says, recommends to do Nishkama Karma Yoga. So do the activity and give the results to the Lord. And later, this question Arjuna was asking, that how is that we are at the part and parcel of the Lord, and we are the souls, we are pure. How come we are acquired, or we are forced to act some kind of sinful activities which we are not at all desiring to do? So then in relation to that, for that question, Arjuna is giving three kinds of solutions starting from this sloka. The next two slokas also talk about the solutions for the how to control our lust. So Krishna says in the 37th sloka, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material modes of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all devouring sinful enemy of this world. So it is said that lust, because of lust, and because of that lust we are forced to do the sinful activities. So generally, as we describe, we are the pure living entities, souls, and since we have developed these lusty desires to enjoy ourselves, because of that we are suffering here. That is only the reason where we are suffering. Actually, in the next slokas, Krishna talks about different analogies of this lust. Krishna talks about how a human being is covered by the lust, and the animal is covered by the lust, and what is the uh, uh, density of the lust which is being covered. So here in 38th sloka, Krishna says, as fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as an embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of this lust. So here you see the three kinds of comparison is being given here. So a fire, a mirror, and an embryo. So a fire is covered with the smoke. When a fire is covered with the smoke, the person who sees it, we can understand that there is a fire, but still the smoke is covering the fire, but we can experience the heat and light. So with this we can say like there is a fire. Means this kind of covering, like the smoke covering the fire, is not that dense, because we can able to see the fire, we can perceive the fire, right? So similarly the mirror is covered by the dust. So a mirror which is being covered by the dust, where if we go in front of the mirror, we may not able to see our image. So for that we have to just wipe it the dust, then we can able to see our actual image. Means the layer of covering is not that much, but there is some small endeavor where you have to clean or wipe the mirror is required, right, to see ourselves. So this is, when it is compared to the fire and smoke, this mirror has little denser thickness than the fire and smoke, because the fire we can just see and understand like there is a fire. After some time we can able to perceive the fire, even though it is being covered with the smoke. But mirror, you have to personally go and clean the dust, then only we can able to see our self. Similarly, the embryo is covered by the womb. So this is very difficult to understand. Like we can perceive, like we can say like there is a embryo inside the womb, but we can't say like what is there inside the embryo. It is very difficult. So only like doctors also, they may not be able to reveal like without machines, they may not able to say like who, what kind of baby is there inside. And you can see the position of a baby inside, like it is completely dark, and it's like we can't able to there is no much oxygen inside, right? And there is water in or around the baby in the embryo. So it is very dark and dense, right? It is very thick covering. So here Krishna has described this kind of different kinds of coverings. So we can see it is compared with the like the human beings, the the lust is covered, and that kind of covering is compared with the fire and smoke, because the fire and smoke, it is very less uh, dense of covering than when we compare with the other things. So animals are compared with the like mirror on the over the dust on the mirror, and other species like trees. Trees are covered with the like embryo. You can see the consciousness of different living beings. Tree is also a living being, animal also living being, human being also living being. But here the consciousness of a person varies a lot. So we have a very nice consciousness, intelligence, and we can see, perceive, and we can understand easily. And if someone hurts, so with their words we can feel that emotions and all. But when it comes to the consciousness of animal, they don't have consciousness like us. And means it is like they have thicker covering of the consciousness, like they, the consciousness covered with a little more denser. And when it comes to the trees, so trees like we can see, at least animals they respond sometimes, right? But trees, even though they have life, even though like we go and we cut the branches, but they don't respond at all, because even though they are the living entities, but still their consciousness thicker, it is completely covered. So this kind of a comparison is given in this sloka. So then further uh, Krishna says, thus the wise living entity, pure consciousness, becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire. So here in this sloka, Krishna is saying that our pure consciousness become covered by the lust, and it is never satisfied. So we can see like if someone has some kind of desire, so once we fulfill that desire, but still the we are not completely satisfied. For example, we can see like new mall in the market. So we see like there are a lot of nice features in that, and we see like it's a very new, brand new, and very nice branded mobile, and no one has it, and like we desire like I want it. So when we get it, we feel very happy. But later on, after some time, we are not satisfied with this mobile. For some moment, we will feel like oh, I got a very new phone. But when we see like some other guy is getting very some other branded phone which is newly came in the market, after some time it become old, right? So after 2 months, 3 months, the market keep releasing so many new mobiles. So when other person sees like he sees like other person is having something which is better than him, then definitely we are not satisfied with what we have. So that's what Krishna is saying, like this lusty desire or the lust which is there, which is never satisfied, and it is compared as like a which burns like a fire. So if there is a fire, if you want to ignite it, means if you want to off it, then the best way to off is like to put more fuel. Is it right way to put more fuel to off the fire? No. Similarly, here Krishna is comparing that this is like a lusty desire is a like a burning fire, where if you try to fulfill its desires, it's like you are putting more fuel into the fire. So it's keep burning more, and there is no end. It is not going to off by putting the fuel or ghee into the fire. So rather, what to have to do, like in the next sloka, Krishna says like we should know where this lust is sitting in earth, the place where it is sitting. So in the next sloka, Krishna says that the senses, the mind, and intelligence are the sitting places of the lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. So we know like if someone is harming us, is he our real friend? No. If someone is giving me continuously pain or suffering, I can say him is my real friend? No. So similarly, this lust, it may looks like our well-wisher, but it is not a real well-wisher, because it is cheating us, saying that if you get this, you will be happy. But when we get it, then again it says like no, this is not the happiness. Actually, you should go for that. So it keeps changing. It keeps changing. So because of that, we are suffering a lot in this material world. Because of lust, we are going to get repeated birth and death in this material world. We are bound into this material because of this lust. So now Krishna is saying that no, he is your enemy. Lust is your enemy. So you should know where he is sitting. So he said, senses, mind, and intelligence are the three sitting places of the lust. So in these three places, lust resides. That is senses, mind, and intelligence. So lust is our greatest enemy because it covers our knowledge and the absolute truth of the absolute truth. So we should know, like because of lust, we are into the ignorance. So because of this lust, our knowledge is being covered. So lust, what happens like generally it gives the false what do you call satisfaction. We feel like we say like truth is little bitter. If you talk about truth, people may not able to take it, accept it, or digest it, because because they are being covered by the lust. They feel like they always want something which is very satisfying to them. The words what we speak, or if you whenever we talk about the when in the Bhagavad Gita classes, whenever we talk about the birth and death, especially call about death, so they say like why we are talking about inauspiciousness. Death they consider it is very inauspicious. Yes, it is very inauspicious. We should not. They feel like we should not discuss about it, but to gain knowledge, we should have like the knowledge about the death also, because after that, what is going to happen? We should have that knowledge. So Bhagavad Gita speaks all this kind of knowledge, but since this, because of lust, this real knowledge of the absolute truth is being covered. So we are not able to see what is my benefit, what is my real benefit. Because of that, people we can see like they are running here and there for the happiness, searching for the happiness. We see like um, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, we are the part and parcel of him. So we are eternal living beings, we are the pure souls, where we are the servants of the Lord. So how a servant will be happy? When he serves the master. Not that he enjoys the property of the master. Definitely he will not be happy. Because for a certain period, when he takes the property of the master and enjoys, but when he's been caught, he will be kicked out. Right? Similarly, we are part and parcel of the Lord, we are the servants of the Lord. So, how I will be happy when I serve my master? That is my eternal position. So I am meant to serve the Lord. If I am serving the Lord, then definitely all the things will be taken care. All the necessary things are being taken care. Not that like I have to go and pray for the Lord for my daily food or for my shelter or for my protection. No, Master knows like what is needed for us. He knows everything, and He knows what is best for us. So when we sincerely serve Him, definitely He is going to give everything for us. Without asking, He will provide it. So, so like this way, we will be happy when we serve our Master. So, but this because of this lust, because of that little independence what Master has given to us, so because of that we are starting thinking that I'm a master. Where when a servant is acting as a master, he can never be happy, because his nature is to serve the master, not to enjoy like a master. So he will never be happy by just being enjoyed. Rather, he will be happy when master is enjoyed by us. So similarly here, the lust, which is this is the real knowledge actually. So, but this real knowledge will be covered because of our lusty desires, because of this little independence what we got. So we are trying to enjoy ourselves. So what happens? Like people are like we can see like they are being covered by this kind of lust. So they are thinking that they are the masters. I'm the boss. I'm the owner of this house. I love my country where I have taken birth. I love the place where I have been coming from, and like that they got certain kind of designations. They are identified by the kind of designation, these so-called designations. How long these designations remain? Until we are there in this, we possess this body. After this body is left, no one cares like where are you and what happened to you. No one cares, no one asks, no one think about it, right? Until unless this body we have, this material body we have this kind of designations. I'm the father, I'm the mother, I'm the husband, I'm so and so person, I'm Indian, American, I'm an engineer, doctor. So we keep having these kind of designations, but really who am I? I am an eternal servant of the Lord. When we think, because we are not able to think this because of this covering of the lust. So when this, how to remove this lust? So that's what it is said in this uh, sloka. Oh Arjuna, best of the Bharatas, it's very in the very beginning, curb this great symbol of lust, sin, by regulating the senses and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. So Krishna is saying that the first, uh, what you call, the first hint or the first, the way how you can control our lust is to control our senses. Here, in the previous sloka, we have seen like um, lust is sitting in three places. Those are intelligence, right? But in this sloka, Krishna is saying like no, to control your lust, you have to control your senses. Why Krishna is not talking about mind and intelligence? Because there also lust is sitting. Yes. Yes. Input for the mind and senses, mind and intelligence is the senses, and we see um, there is a hierarchy given in the Bhagavad Gita. Like first is sense objects, then senses, then comes mind, intelligence, and the soul. Right? False ego, then the soul. So the this is the senses are in the gross platform. which we can see, perceive, we can recognize them. But mind and intelligence are in the subtle platform, which it is very difficult to control it, which are higher in the status level, right? So the lower status are in the, these are the senses are in the lower status, right? So Krishna is saying like, no, it is easy for you first to control your senses than the mind and intelligence. And here Krishna says like, um, uh, senses enjoys through the sense objects, right? So we know that, you know, the senses, lust is sitting on the senses, so and the senses will enjoy through the sense objects. So it is the best way how to control the lust is like, you know, try to disconnect our senses with the sense objects. Generally, when senses will get activate, when there is a sense object near to me. So I have a phone. Now my senses are active, like, no, to use this sense object for my own sense gratification. When this is not there, out of sight, out of mind. So it is not there in front of me, then I can say like, no, it is less chances where I will enjoy with this, right? Similarly, it is easy now, right? You can see this practical example, like, you know, it is not there in front of me, then I am not able to enjoy it. If it is there in front of me, means the sense object is next to me, next to the senses, then senses will be always active, think about it and try to enjoy it. In that way, mind also give a lot of inputs to the senses how to enjoy it, right? And intelligence, you see, intelligence is like, you know, higher than the mind, and it is just next to the soul. After soul, there is intelligence. This is next, the neighbor of the soul, we can say. But if the intelligence is next to the soul, but intelligence, if it is being corrupted by the lust, means actually the intelligence is our well-wisher. He is our real friend. So he is our guardian. Like intelligence is our guardian. But when the lust conquers the intelligence, means the guardian is being corrupted. So bribing a guardian saying that to kill us, kill the soul. So it is a high chance where, like, you know, because of senses, this mind and intelligence is going to get corrupted. So the best way, practical way to control the senses, first thing is to keep away our senses from the sense object and try to control it. So here, that's what, like, you know, in this, in the purport also nicely it is being mentioned. If you see, so there are different so simple definitions have been given here. So if you see, there are two words are being used here in the sloka, that is knowledge, that is jnana, and vijnana. So what is a jnana? The definition is being given here. So here see, the Lord advised Arjuna to regulate the senses from the very beginning so that he could curb the greatest sinful enemy, lust, which destroys urges from self-realization and specific knowledge of the self. So jnana refers to the knowledge of the self as distinguished from non-self, or in other words, knowledge that the spirit soul is not the body. What is a jnana? Jnana means that I am a spirit soul, I am not this body. This is the first jnana. So we should understand what is our real position. We are the souls, we are not this body. In Bhagavad Gita second chapter, it is being described like this body is just like a dress. So we keep changing our dress, right? So similarly, we keep changing our bodies. So but the soul is same. The soul transforms from one body to another body, but it remains same. But the body changes, the dress changes. Similarly, Vijnana means what? Vijnana refers to the specific knowledge of the spirit soul's constitutional position and his relation to the supreme soul. So Vijnana means, in simple sense, it is called the knowledge about the supreme soul, that is Krishna. So we should have these two kind of knowledge we should have this good understanding about these two words, like what is jnana and vijnana. Based on that, we should act accordingly. And lust is only the perverted reflection of the love of the God, which is natural for every living entity. See, when we have a lust means we can understand I had love for the Lord, but now it is turned into the lust. It is turned into the lust. Why it is turned into the lust? Because we have developed that kind of uh, desire to enjoy ourselves like the Lord. That is the only reason where this love has transformed into the lust. It is a perverted reflection of the lust, of the love. So, when we understand that, because of this lusty desires, I'm here. Then how can I come out of this? That I have to start loving the Lord. I should start reading the scriptures. I should start hearing attentively about the Lord. So when we practice this is called Vaidhi Bhakti. Vaidhi Bhakti means what? Vaidhi Bhakti means like doing the bhakti under certain rules and regulations, do's and don'ts. So when someone is sick, when they go to doctor, definitely doctor will give do's and don'ts for our benefit, right? So when we follow these do's and don'ts, definitely we'll come out of this sick or disease. Similarly, now we are sick because of our lusty desires. So how to come out of it? When we practice the bhakti under the rules and regulations. What are the rules and regulations? Yes, following the scriptures, reading the scriptures, hearing the scriptures, and avoiding, following the four regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds every day, and doing some kind of services, attending the programs, harati. So these are very very favorable things for our bhakti. So this is called Vaidhi Bhakti. For the neophytes, it's very important. That's what it is said. So Krishna consciousness is powerful that even a later beginner can become a lover of the God by following the regulatory principles of devotional service. So when you follow the regulatory principles, whichever stage we are, it is best if someone is coming into Krishna consciousness very early in their age, because they know, how can, what is their, they have better understanding when they come into Krishna consciousness in the early age. But that's fine, now I'm very old, so what to do? I can't come or what? No, everyone has an opportunity. They can come at any time. So, but when they start doing it, they should follow by regulating, by following the regulative principles of devotional service. So then it will be easy for them to come out of these kind of coverings. So like this, Krishna has given the first solution how to overcome the lust. In the next further two slokas, that is the last two slokas which are there, which Lord is giving two more hints or the solutions how to overcome this lusty desires. So with this, I just pause today's class. If you have any questions or doubts, you can ask. Some of sense objects, yeah. Yeah. So it is said here in the same sloka, Krishna says, we should kill the person, like we should kill these kind of senses or the thoughts which are coming. We should be very vigilant. See, if we are very lenient to our senses, then it is difficult to control. So, in that sense, we can see Krishna himself saying that you should kill it, you should slap. So the word exactly is used here. So here, slay, yeah. So the slay, this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization. Slay means what? To kill, to cut. So we should be very vigilant, how to cut these senses. So that will be possible when you are there in the favorable condition of bhakti. Having with always with the association of devotees. Yes, definitely it will be little difficult initially, but later when we have good understanding, when we use our intelligence in a right way, definitely we can able to control it. We may fail once or twice because we are being under its control, so it will be difficult. But later, like when we are practicing slowly, so we develop that kind of strong. We will become strong. So then definitely we are able to control it. So the best way is to always vigilant, the actions what you're doing. So just now I was hearing one lecture. He was one Maharaj was saying whenever we see something wrong, like which is not favorable for Krishna consciousness, or these kind of lusty desires thought comes, then immediately intelligent we should what we call practice or give the training to our intelligence that it should say no for that. We should always think this is not favorable for my Krishna consciousness, so I should be withdraw our senses. I should withdraw our senses. So we should practice this, and we should be very vigilant, or we should be very against the thoughts what we get about sense gratification. So we should try. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.